I'm about to save you from making a $50,000 mistake. I know this might sound harsh, but there are certain types of houses in Kansas City that look perfect online, have you dreaming about move-in day and then turn into an absolute money pit the second you close. I'm talking about the kinds of houses you should never buy in Kansas City. They come with hidden problems that might fool you at the start, but trust me, they show up fast. And today I'm breaking down every one of them and giving you tips you can't skip so you never fall for these problems. I'm Kelsea with Keller Williams, Kansas City North, and after years of helping buyers navigate this market, I've seen way too many people get burned by homes that seem like deals until reality hits. I know, the fresh paint and those new fixtures feel so good that it's easy to think that nothing could be wrong, but that's exactly how sellers hide the big problems that only show up on closing day. And I'm not letting you fall for that. Let me show you how to spot these traps before you sign anything. You know these houses, the photos look amazing and everything seems move-in ready, but I'm gonna walk through what's really going on behind those pretty walls. Flippers are putting lipstick on a pig. They give you the cute cosmetic stuff and ignore the expensive parts. Your HVAC system could be 20 years old. Your electrical panel could still be the Federal Pacific panel from 1975. That's a known fire risk. And the plumbing could be made up of galvanized pipes that are already corroding from the inside. We've got tons of these flips on the market right now, and honestly, most of them are pretty bad. Spotting them is easy though. When you walk into a house with fresh paint, ask about the HVAC right away. If the system is around 15 to 20 years old, you're looking at $2,500 to $6,000 just to replace it in Kansas City's climate. And that's just to get heat and air that actually work. Check the electrical panel. If you see the words Federal Pacific on it, you need to walk away. These panels don't trip the way they should. When there's too much power running through a circuit, you're looking at a real fire risk instead of a breaker protecting your house. One study even found that 1 in 4 of these breakers didn't work at all. And the foundation issues that I'm covering next get 10 times worse when someone hides them behind a quick flip. But first, finish this checklist. Now, look at the plumbing. If the house has galvanized steel pipes from before the 1960s, those pipes are already rusting on the inside. You'll get low water pressure, leaks, and a whole list of problems. And if you see polybutylene pipes from the 1970s through the 90s, that's even worse. This kind of pipe was part of a $1 billion lawsuit because it failed when certain water additives hit it. Many buyers won't even tour a house with these pipes because they don't meet today's building codes. So what do you do about all of this? First, always get a home inspection. Always. Don't skip it to save a few $100s when you're about to spend hundreds of thousands of dollars. Second, check the permit history. Kansas City, Missouri uses Compass KC online. Kansas City, Kansas use the Excella Citizen Access Portal. If someone did major work and there's no permit record, that tells you everything. The work wasn't inspected, it probably doesn't meet code, and now you're left with someone else's shortcuts. Third, ask the seller to pay for a home warranty for your first year, or you can pay about $500 annually yourself. When you're buying a flip, protection isn't optional because you really have no idea what's inside those walls. But these cosmetic updates hiding major problems are only the beginning. The next issue is literally built into the ground here, and it's costing homeowners a lot of money to fix after they move in. Picture paying 40 grand to fix cracks in your basement walls 2 years after you move in. Feels like a horror story, right? But it's just our clay soil doing what it always does. You need to know how to catch these problems before closing. Kansas City sits on clay, and if you don't know what that means, I'll explain because it affects your wallet directly. This clay expands when it gets wet and shrinks when it dries. And during heavy spring rains, the clay swells and pushes against your foundation walls. Then in summer, it dries out and your foundation settles again. This constant movement creates cracks, bowed walls, and real structural damage that can cost anywhere from $5 grand to $40,000 to fix. This is what you need to look for during inspections. Cracks in drywall, especially above windows and door frames. Doors and windows that stick out or will not close properly. Floors that slope or feel uneven when you walk across them, and most buyers miss that part. In the basement, watch for any cracks in the walls or signs of water staining. If you see horizontal cracks in the basement walls, that happens when the clay pushes inward. That's serious. If the walls are bowing, that's serious too. These aren't cosmetic problems that you can ignore. Now, let's talk about drainage. Our area has a moderate flood risk. About 10% of all properties here, roughly 20,000 homes, face some type of flooding risk over the next 30 years. And that's not only from Missouri and Kansas rivers. Turkey Creek has a significant flood history. Homes near any creek, in low areas, or with backyards that slope toward the house instead of away from it are going to have water problems. Poor grading is the #1 cause of basement water issues. If the ground slopes toward your foundation, every rainstorm sends water down into the soil around your basement. That water finds creeks, seeps through porous concrete, and you end up with a wet basement and foundation damage. You'll want to remember this grading issue when we get to rural properties later because septic systems make drainage problems a lot more expensive. The fix isn't cheap. Proper grading, foundation repair, and waterproofing can all land in the 5-figure range. So when you're touring new homes, look at the yard. Does the water pool near the foundation? Does the ground slope away from the house? Are there gutters and downspouts that push water away from the home? In our area, these aren't nice extras. They protect your biggest investment from our unique soil conditions. And speaking of protecting your investment, let me show you why the most expensive home on the block is usually the worst financial decision you can make. A $700,000 remodel surrounded by $400,000 homes is not a steal. It's an appraisal problem waiting to wreck your financing. I want to show you why buying the nicest house in a basic neighborhood is a trap. This is what happens. Someone bought a $400,000 home, put $300,000 into renovations, and now they want to sell it for $700 grand. It sounds great until you realize every other house on the block sold between $400 and $450 grand. This is an over improvement, and it creates a huge problem called an appraisal gap. When you get a mortgage, the bank orders an appraisal. The appraiser looks at recent sales in the neighborhood, and if the highest sale was $450 and this house is listed at $700,000, guess what that appraisal comes in at? It's not $700,000. The median home price in our area right now is around $293,000, but that changes a lot by neighborhood. Brookside and Waldo are running $295,000 to $610,000. Some parts of Kansas City, Kansas are under $225,000. But remember, a $500,000 home in a $300,000 neighborhood is always a red flag. About 15% of appraisals come in below the contract price, and when that happens, you have to cover the difference in cash or renegotiate. And many sellers ask for appraisal gap guarantees now, which means you're responsible for the difference to set up that amount. There's another issue. When you try to sell that over-improved home, you face the same problem. You paid extra for improvements that the neighborhood cannot support. Your resale value gets capped by what the neighborhood can handle. Buy homes that match recent sales in the area. That's how you protect your investment and make sure you can sell when life changes and you need to move. Now, even if the home fits the neighborhood price, outdated systems can destroy your budget faster than you think. I will break down the real costs next. An HVAC system installed in 2005 sounds old, but still manageable, right? That is, until you realize it's about to cost you over 11 grand to replace right after you drain your savings for the down payment. Now I want to show you what to check before making an offer. If any of these systems are older than 20 years, you're looking at ticking time bombs. HVAC, roof, water heater, and the electrical panel. HVAC replacement in our area ranges from about $5,000 to $11,000, depending on the size of your home and the type of system. And you need that system here. Summer temperatures hit 89 degrees, and our median home size of about 2,000 square feet needs real cooling. Roof replacement averages $7,600, ranging from about $6,000 to over $10,000. We live in Tornado Alley. We get hail, wind damage, and severe storms. Your roof takes a beating here, and impact-resistant materials are worth thinking about, even if they cost more at the start. And when we talk about HOA fees and insurance costs in a minute, you'll see how these replacement expenses get even harder to afford when you're already paying an extra $800 to $1,200 a month on top of your mortgage. Water heaters cost about $1,000 to $2,000 to replace. Electrical panel upgrades to 200 amps cost between $2,500 and $4,500. And when you add all of that up, you're looking at $17,000 to $34,000 in quick expenses if you buy a home where everything is at the end of its life. This is why you ask for age and service records on every major system. We have a seller's disclosure here that's an 8-page document that details all of these records. If the HVAC was installed 18 years ago, add that replacement to your budget. If the roof is original to a 25-year-old house, same thing. And there's something else you need to understand. In our climate, these systems work hard. Hot summers, cold winters, storms. They don't last as long as they might in softer climates. So when someone tells you their HVAC is only 17 years old, that's really not a selling point. That's a warning. Look for homes with updated systems from the last 10 years. Check permits to make sure the work was done right, and budget for the fact that every system will fail at some point. But mechanical systems are not the only monthly cost that catches buyers off guard. I want to show you how HOA fees and insurance can add more than $1,000 to your payment every month. Your mortgage payment is $2,200 a month, but with HOA fees and insurance, you'll end up paying way more than you expect. That's the reality some condo buyers in our area don't discover until it's too late. I want to show you what you need to know before you commit. Condos downtown without many perks average $230 a month in HOA fees. Buildings, elevators, and more floors average $460 a month, and high-rises with pools, gyms, parking garages, and concierge services cost over $1,000 a month. And people don't realize what these fees actually cover. They pay for maintenance, common areas, and sometimes water, sewer, and insurance. But they also go up, sometimes fast and sometimes without a lot of warning. Special assessments happen when there's a big repair that the HOA cannot pay for, a roof replacement for the entire building, HVAC failure, structural problems. Suddenly, every owner gets hit with a bill for thousands of dollars, and it's not optional. I've seen condos hit with special assessments because of skipped maintenance, a big pool repair. One person told me their mother's condo association asked for an extra $1,200 grand per unit for roof and AC repairs. Now, let's talk about insurance. Homeowners insurance in Kansas City costs about $3,400 per year on average. That's 56% higher than the national average. And why? Because we live in Tornado Alley. We get hail, wind, and severe storms. Wind and hail deductibles are usually set as a percentage of your home's value now, not a flat dollar amount. So for a $400,000 home with a 1% deductible, you'll pay the $4,000 first from any storm damage before the insurance pays anything. And when you put it all together, HOA fees of $600 to $1,000 a month, plus high insurance premiums add $800 to $1,200 in your monthly housing costs beyond your mortgage. That prices many buyers out or makes the payment too hard to keep up with. Before you buy a condo or townhome, ask for the HOA financials. Look at the reserve fund. Ask about the recent special assessments. Check if dues have been rising faster than inflation. These details show the difference between a well-managed community and a financial problem you're about to take on. Now, speaking of hidden costs, let's talk about why that affordable rural property might be the most expensive mistake of all. That $250,000 house on 3 acres north of Liberty looks affordable until you find a failing septic system, a well pump replacement, and a good chunk each year in gas just getting to work. That's the math that catches first-time buyers completely off guard. Septic systems are the first thing to understand. The average installation cost in our area is almost $7,000, ranging from $3,150 to more than $11,000, depending on the system. A standard 1,000-gallon tank for a 3 to 4 bedroom house runs $775 to $1,300 just for the tank. Then you have the leach field at $5,000 to $12,000. Septic inspections for real estate deals cost between $255 and $400. Pumping that 1,000-gallon tank averages $250 to $380, and if the system fails, you're looking at thousands in emergency repairs or a full replacement. Wells are the same story. Well pumps last about 10 to 15 years, and replacing one costs about $1,000 to $2,800. You need water testing to make sure it's safe. If there are quality issues, you're installing treatment systems, and if there's a drought, your well yield drops. And remember those grading and drainage issues we talked about earlier? They're 10 times more serious when you have a septic system because poor drainage can cause a full septic failure. Now add commuting. With gas prices around $3 per gallon right now, a 50-mile daily commute, which is normal for these rural areas, burns through about 1,000 gallons of fuel a year at 25 miles per gallon. That's $3,000 a year in fuel alone, not counting wear and tear on your car. Routes like I-35 from downtown to Liberty in Kearney, Missouri, 152 from Liberty to 435, and US 169 north to Smithville are packed during rush hour. Your commute gets longer, your quality of life goes down. Rural properties trade lower purchase prices for higher ongoing costs. Think about septic maintenance, well upkeeping, water testing, treatment systems, and transportation costs before you commit to that affordable house 45 minutes from work. If you don't, you're saving money up front just to lose it every month after. So after all those red flags, what should you actually be looking for? Let me break down the kinds of homes that protect your investment instead of hurting it. Homes that won't drain your bank account the year after you buy them. This is your complete checklist. Start with updated systems and documented permits. HVAC less than 10 to 15 years old with service records. Electrical panels upgraded to modern standards, not Federal Pacific or Zensco. Updated plumbing with copper, PEX, or CPVC, not galvanized or polybutylene. Recent roof installation with warranty paperwork, and permits matter. Check Compass KC for Kansas City, Missouri. Check the Building Inspection Office for Kansas City, Kansas. Permits show the work was inspected and approved, which means it meets code and was done right. Focus on neighborhoods with stable sales and strong resale history. Brookside with median prices in the mid-500s, Waldo with many housing options, the Country Club District near the Plaza, River Market and Crossroads downtown, Prairie Village, Overland Park, and Leawood on the Kansas side. These neighborhoods have steady property values and strong growth potential. You aren't gambling a $700,000 home in a $400,000 neighborhood. You're buying where the market supports your investment. Look for properties with clear repairs and honest seller's disclosures. In Kansas, sellers don't have to give disclosures by law, but most use forms that are similar to Missouri's. Find sellers who share full disclosure statements early, include inspection reports from recent checks, upload prior paperwork and receipts, and share all known problems. In Missouri, sellers must disclose every bad fact they or their agent know about. If they fail to disclose, they can face legal trouble for lying, fraud, or breaking the contract, even after closing. About 77% of real estate lawsuits come from disclosure problems. Transparency matters. If a seller hides behind sold as is with no disclosures, that's your sign to walk away. And always hire a certified home inspector who understands our area's challenges. Our clay soil, foundation issues, basement moisture, and storm damage all require specific attention. Your inspector should check foundation and structural safety, roof condition, HVAC, plumbing, electrical systems, water damage, draining problems, and proper grading. For flipped homes, request sewer scope inspections and verify permits before you make an offer. These extra steps protect you from taking on someone else's shortcuts and code problems. Avoiding these money pits means you're building real wealth instead of paying for someone else's bad choices. And when you know the red flags, you won't overpay for hidden problems again. So if you're ready to find a home that's not a disaster waiting to happen, email me at Kelsea@lakewoodhomesandland.com. I'll help you spot the red flags before you waste time touring properties that'll drain your savings. The best opportunities in this market are moving fast, so reach out now and let's get you into the right home. Now, speaking of opportunities moving fast, Kansas City's housing market just shifted in a major way. For the first time since 2020, buyers have the power back. I'm breaking down the exact numbers, which neighborhoods are seeing the biggest changes, and how $3 billion infrastructure projects are reshaping where you should buy. Check out the video I've linked right here. I'll see you there.